Hello everyone, welcome back to our Network APIs video series. In our first video, we explored what an API is and how it enables the exchange of information between software components without needing to know the internal workings. We then introduced network APIs and how they leverage rich telecom data for various business use cases. In our second video, we discussed the GSMA Open Gateway, an initiative to standardize network APIs and address interoperability concerns. We also explored GSMA Fusion, which collaborates with enterprises to channelize their unmet needs and develop the much needed network APIs. These APIs are defined, developed, and published under the open source project called CAMARA in collaboration with the Linux Foundation. In this video, let us dive into the CAMARA project and how it's structured to build customer-facing network APIs that are simple to use, easy to integrate, and developer-friendly. CAMARA was initiated in 2021 by a small group of telecom operators, vendors, and hyperscalers and launched at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona on February 28, 2022 with 22 partners. CAMARA is an open source project within the Linux Foundation to define, develop, and test APIs. It works closely with the GSMA Operator Platform Group and Fusion initiatives to align API requirements and publish API definitions and APIs. The scope of the CAMARA project is limited to telecom APIs, which include APIs in the domains of telecom mobile networks, fixed line networks, telecom edge cloud, and supporting services like authentication. There are three different types of northbound APIs, including service APIs, service management APIs, operate APIs. Service APIs and service management APIs fall within the scope of the CAMARA project. Service APIs are intended for end consumers and are integrated by developers to invoke specific telecom capabilities. Service management APIs are intended for end consumers to manage or get data about offered service APIs during application runtime, such as checking service availability or performance information. Operate APIs are outside the scope of CAMARA and are provided by other organizations like TM Forum, which we will discuss in another video. These include operational and maintenance APIs provided by telecom operators to channel partners for service fulfillment and assurance to their customers. This may include a service provisioning for a mobile user, technical API performance monitoring, fault ticketing, information exchange like product catalogs, pricing, settlement, etc. CAMARA defines these service APIs and service management APIs using a contribution-driven approach and in collaboration with the developer community. The scope of the CAMARA project includes collecting API requirements from GSMA Operator Platform Group, a GSMA group that defines the reference architecture and requirements of the platform operators use to expose their capabilities to customers via APIs and other sources. Prioritizing list of API families seen as useful for customers, including a functional description of the APIs and non-functional requirements. Then defining service APIs and service management APIs and creating test plans and tools from a business and API consumer perspective. Then developing service APIs and service management APIs, including reference implementations for transformation functions. Then creating test cases and performing verifications and tests from developers' perspective. Then creating developer-friendly documentation for service APIs and service management APIs. And then testing these service APIs and service management APIs from a business and customer perspective in telecom networks. Then comes creating deployment packages for service APIs and service management APIs and creating a reference architecture for these APIs. Finally, defining a standard API lifecycle, development and test process, including tools for the project. Now let's explore how the CAMARA project is structured to deliver on the scope we have discussed so far. The structure consists of working groups and sub-projects. In this video, we will focus on the working groups, and in the next video, we will discuss the sub-projects. Working groups are primarily used to facilitate topics of discussion that are within the scope of the CAMARA project but are short-lived or span multiple sub-projects. The Technical Steering Committee decides on implementing or removing working groups and their maintainers. Currently, there are 5 working groups, starting with API Backlog Working Group, Commonalities Working Group, Identity and Consent Management Working Group, Outreach Working Group, and Release Management Working Group. Now let's dive into these working groups in detail. Starting with API Backlog Working Group. This group plays a crucial role in managing the life cycle of API proposals and ensuring the continuous growth and improvement of the CAMARA project. It serves as the central hub for coordinating the introduction, evaluation, and progression of new APIs within the CAMARA ecosystem. The key responsibilities include API proposal management, receive and process new API proposals, assess alignment with CAMARA's goals and standards, and facilitate discussions between proposers and subject matter experts. Next one includes evaluation and recommendation, analyze technical feasibility, market demand, and strategic alignment, prepare reports and recommendations for the Technical Steering Committee, lead review sessions to discuss proposal merits and challenges. The next one is sub-project support. Assist in setting up repositories for approved APIs, guide proposers through the incubation process, ensuring compliance with CAMARA guidelines, support API transition from incubation to stable status. Then API lifecycle oversight. Monitor API progress through development stages, identify and address potential bottlenecks, recommend updates or deprecation based on industry trends and user feedback. Then comes documentation and reporting. Maintain an updated API backlog reflecting proposal and project statuses. Prepare regular reports for the Technical Steering Committee and CAMARA community. Develop and update documentation for the API proposal and development process. Then comes community engagement. Organize and participate in community events for feedback and promotion. Collaborate with other working groups to ensure alignment across CAMARA's initiatives. The API Backlog Working Group is essential for maintaining the dynamism and relevance of CAMARA's API's offerings, ensuring that the project continues to meet the evolving needs of the telecommunications industry and its partners. The next working group is Commonalities Working Group. This group is dedicated in establishing and maintaining a consistent set of guidelines and assets for CAMARA API development. It is essential for fostering a unified and standardized approach to developing CAMARA APIs. It plays a crucial role in ensuring uniformity across all CAMARA sub-projects by providing essential documentation and reusable resources. The key principles include domain-driven design. The main idea of the domain-driven design approach is to develop software for a complex domain. We need to build a ubiquitous language that embeds the domain's terminology in the software systems we build. The next principle is API first strategy. This strategy considers APIs and everything related to them, including definition, versioning, development, and promotion as a product. The API is the main interface of the application. The third principle is standardization. Various organizations, standardization forums, and collaboration projects define specific interfaces for certain domains, which are then implemented by different industry agents. These organizations include 3GPP, ETSI, IETF, and Broadband Forum, among others. This working group also provides guidelines for API testing within the CAMARA project, ensuring consistency and quality across all APIs. Then the next working group is Identity and Consent Management Working Group, which is started in March 2023. This group defines guidelines for operator API exposure platforms to manage CAMARA API access and, when applicable, user consent. API providers implementing CAMARA APIs should be built with a privacy by default approach to fully comply with data protection regulations such as the GDPR regulation in Europe, which emphasizes user privacy. Key responsibilities include defining user identity and how to identify the user, application service provider authentication and authorization, capturing and storing consent when required without materially degrading the end user's experience, policy enforcement to validate the existence and or validity of consent before authorizing access to a CAMARA API. The next working group is Outreach Working Group, formerly known as the Marketing Working Group. This committee plans and performs marketing activities for CAMARA and maintains marketing material for the project. The next working group is Release Management Working Group. This group defines the release processes of the CAMARA project, covering the releases of working group deliverables and the releases of APIs by the API sub-projects. It also defines the meta-release process that ensures consistency across APIs. The key responsibilities include ensuring availability of consistent API definitions using guidelines and templates, maintaining the quality of API definitions using checklists, test definitions, and release management, ensuring the stability of API definitions using clear criteria for stable versus initial API versions, providing reliability of schedule and deliverables with defined milestones and release candidates. CAMARA meta releases combine a set of CAMARA API versions into a consistent release. There are 2 meta releases per year, allowing API providers to plan their API implementations and deployments in production, and API consumers to plan integration into their platforms and applications. Stay tuned as we continue our discussion about CAMARA sub-projects in the next video. To stay updated with our latest content and help us grow, please subscribe to this channel and share it with others who may find this information valuable. Thank you.